little funky Friday. From their funky hidden headquarters, your hosts, Keith and Gary. Not Jerry.
I like that theme. It's a really cool intro. I like that shit. Yeah. That's my Mitch Hellberger. I was doing an impression of him last night on Brandon's show. And I'm like, I never did his voice before. I fucking love that guy, man. Him and Stephen Wright have like, or had, because, you know, he passed away, had the market cornered on that kind of humor. Non sequitur, weird humor. You know, like Stephen Wright, I bought dehydrated water and I don't know what to mix it with. What a great joke. I can't remember which one of them said it. There was a comedian that said it, and it always struck me as a Stephen Wright joke of, yeah, I accidentally snorted Comet one day. I didn't get high, but boy, was I clean. It's so messed up. Yes, right now it's Gary and John because Keith's not here. We don't know what's going on with him. You know, he's got a lot of stuff going on in his life with family. And so we're just assuming it's that, or maybe he's asleep. Because he works all night. So, sadly, I have to report that neither Mikey nor Kieran can be here this weekend. Kieran's doing stuff with his Huggy Bear girlfriend, woman. I keep forgetting if they're married or not, but his woman. He's got to, do the guy thing, spend some time with her. And Mikey's just busy. He's, always doing stuff. And he's working on a show right now. And so he's like right in the middle of it. So we're not going to have him this week. So we're going to we're going to talk about Geekosity, but some of the news they've had recently. But sadly, they will not be here to discuss it. And there's some interesting stuff going on over there at Geekosity. And got to tell you, I saw that there was a new update with Constantine that Mikey wrote about. And I am curious of where that's going, because, and I was told by somebody this week that even though Elseworld is something else other than regular DC, that James Gunn and Sasha, what's his name, are in charge of it. And I'm like, well, they're acting like they're hands off with it. So I don't know what to take away from that. I really don't. All I know is I'm glad that Constantine 2 is still out to be, the sequel get made and Keanu's in it. Because I am a big Keanu Reeves fan. And I'm trying to find the story. The one I found interesting this week, let's go into this one. This is by our good friend Kieran, who's not here this weekend to explain his story. Let me see. Boom, baby. Boom, 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 baby. So we've got Spider-Man Noir for Amazon. Sounds like a cut above mediocre Sony fare. Got to agree. So he writes, Kieran writes, Spider-Man Noir swings to Amazon Prime in live action, and it already sounds better than Sony's usual fare. When it comes to Sony's Spider-Man franchise, outside their deal with Marvel Studios, the results end up being hit or miss, especially the spinoffs. Actually, the spinoffs have more or less all been misses with only one exception. I wonder what his exception is. Let's mouse over and find out.
In
this
the Spider-Verse.
Yep. All right. So we'll skip that. But apart from the Oscars, and I do have to say I'm not a fan of the not Spawn, Venom movies. I enjoyed the first one, and I just couldn't even get into the second one. So I know what he's talking about. So apart from the Oscar-winning animated The Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, all of Sony's live-action spin-offs have been critical flops. Granted, the Venom franchise energized cash registers. On the other hand, they lowered IQs, and I have to agree, the second film just was not come off very good. And I disliked the final battle in the first film. It just looked like crap. I mean, It was on par with the original Spawn movie back in, was it 97, 99, whatever that was. That CG was terrible. Nonetheless, that hasn't stopped the studio from moving ahead with their hopes for a shared cinematic universe. Despite the colossal failure of Morbius, it was a mediocre failure. I don't think it was a big one. They, it got good reviews from viewers. Critics hate it, but
it's a good bad movie.
Yeah, Andre and I are simpatico on that. We talked about it. It's like, it's a good film. We both enjoyed it. So, two of which are currently filming, Madam Web and Craven the Hunter. Moreover, they're also beginning to branch out into TV to help further build out their growing universe. A few years ago, Variety revealed that a TV show centered around Spider-Verse character Silk was in the works. In November 2022, Sony titled it Silk Spider Society. Furthermore, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse's Phil Lord and Christopher Miller became producers of the project. Not like Lord and Miller. Good stuff. Became producers of the project. Amazon will release the program via their streaming service, Prime Video. Which, once again, I don't know how much money they're making with the Prime Video stuff. All I know is it is attached directly to their shipping plan. And so, therefore, they're not losing money because of that. In addition, they've just announced that a second Amazon Prime TV series from the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Noir, is in development. For many, Spider-Man Noir appearance into the Spider-Verse stood out, which isn't a surprise. Hollywood legend Nicolas Cage brilliantly voiced the Spider-Man Noir. Moreover, Lord and Miller will once again return to produce this upcoming TV adaptation. Variety were the ones to break this unexpected story and provided a brief description about the upcoming spinoff. It reads, the untitled series will follow an older, grizzled superhero in 1930s New York City. An individual with knowledge of the project says that the show will be set in its own universe and the main character will not be Peter Parker. I don't know how fans are going to react to that, but we'll see. The setting and tone are already accurate to its source material. That is sure to excite fans. After all, Sony isn't known for comic accuracy in its live-action adaptations. Nevertheless, the fact that it won't be Peter Parker under the black mask and fedora will undoubtedly leave everyone confused. Just a little, maybe. Not just confused, but maybe bemused. I see Keith joined us. Keith. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, do you agree there that I think it'll be less confused and more bemused on that, not being Peter Parker?
Well, the fact that it's 1930s, I mean, first of all, that'll be the initial confusion outside of the look of the character.
I think it's a mistake when they venture too far from the comics.
It's always been a mistake to venture too far from the comics, but Sony doesn't care, I mean, they really don't.
Well, that was what
people keep
the whole, Into the Spider-Verse was supposed to be, is all these different iterations of the same person. The multiverse thing. And so, I don't think this is going to fare well. To be honest with you, they should have done the monkey one that Peter Parker kept referring to himself as when he was in Italy, in Venice.
Night Monkey?
Night Monkey. That's what they should have done. Monkey.
Because Sony couldn't really do very well doing that on their own. They found unique ways of screwing stuff up on their own. So...
Yeah. So I think this will be another fuck up. I really do. So I don't know. I hope it doesn't suck, but it feels like it's going to suck. So who will be the universe's web slinger? Already there's been a lot of speculation. Sony doesn't have the rights to use Ben Urich from the comic books. Thus, most are leaning towards an entirely new character in Volume 1 of Spider-Man Noir. Urich is the photojournalist known as the Spider and is also a mentor to Peter Parker. They'll need to tweak this for Amazon. Hopefully, we'll see what's in store in the upcoming months.
I thought Ben Urich was a Spider-Man character, so they had rights to it.
You would think so, but apparently no. I don't know, man. I
I
don't
I
know.
I think they ended up using Uric in Daredevil, and that then became a character that they ended up using on for damn uh, what's the name of that service again? Um, when they had everything on Daredevil and everything else, they ended up using that character for oh man, I know that character came into play when they did season 1 of Daredevil.
Yeah.
So that may have been mixed into the rights that Disney ended up getting back once they cleared everything out from before. So that's one of those characters that's in the gray area that's kind of shared. And the last thing Sony wants to do is find a way of giving Disney even more money. So they may just skip over characters that they have a gray area with.
And Monkey, I'd like to point out you are incorrect. They have the rights to do live action TV 45 minutes and longer. The
Okay.
The cartoon, the animated rights belong to Sony or to Marvel.
That is interesting. I would like to say hello to everybody in the chat. Is this updated, Martin? I want to make sure
Yes.
before I say hi to everybody. Okay. So Penny is here. And of course, Martin mentions my girlfriend, Anima Confusa, love of my life. Let's see. White Boy Crazy Horse? I don't know what that.
Oh, he's on KGRA.
Oh, is that who? Okay. I've never seen that name before, but that's an awesome name. And of course, Lord Thoth is here. All hail Lord Thoth. And of course, Monka Gibbous is here. Thank you. Come again. And Sox Bulletin's here. Hi, buddy. How you doing? Ben Urich is a reporter for the Daily Bugle. He isn't Peter's mentor. What? LOL. Yeah, I know. Look, I don't get excited. Sox knows. So, we both pay attention to what's going on over at Geekosity. And some of the things that Mikey and Kieran will get excited over, I kind of go, what? All hail to you, sir. Lord Thoth. Domain Stokely is here. That's another new name. Good to see you. Good to see you. But I will say that I'm always willing to take a look at something. I'm always willing to take a look. It isn't unless I find out that it's going to be absolute woke trash will I avoid it. Which all you're saying, when you say woke to me, you're just saying leftist garbage. And none of us like that. I won't get upset about liberal ideals. I get upset about leftist ideals because they're garbage. They're bad ideas. They're always bad ideas. So, good afternoon to you, Alex Moore. How you doing, sir? Hope you're having a grand day. And DC talk. Oh, okay, that's cool. DC talk, because we're going to be doing some DC talk. I don't know if we're connected or not, but if you want an invite, let me know if you want to jump in and talk about some of this stuff with us. But we're going to be talking a lot of DC. In fact, I think all but one story, and I'm going to go and get that story out of the way right now, which is once again a congratulatory story for our friend Mikey Sutton, because Mikey is got his own show. He's got a TV show that's coming, and it's very exciting to see what's happening with him. It's always exciting to see what's happening with him. And so we've got this one. Mikhail Red's horror movie Eerie influenced the Dreamwalker TV series, and he's now going to direct it. That was exciting. That got exciting. So, Mikhail Red will direct the streaming TV adaptation of Dreamwalker influenced by his powerful horror film, Eerie. No, this isn't a scoop. I don't need to source himself. He's sourcing himself. But this is exciting, man. And it's got actress Kate Valdez, who's in the comic book. I hope she's going to be in the series. But looking forward to this. There's Mikhail Red. So this is something to look forward to. Our good friend Mikey Sutton's moving ahead. He's going to forget us eventually one day. You watch. It's like Gary who? Keith? I don't know that guy. Lethal Weapon. Never heard of it. So, but this is exciting. Congratulations to Mikey Sutton, man. This is awesome news. So, any thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah,
I'm happy for him.
You would be.
I'm sorry. Am I not meant to be? I mean, I think it's great news.
Sucking up to him.
Let's suck it. I'm genuinely happy because
I'm very happy for him, and we're still set in the next year to do a comic book together.
Yeah.
One of his horror ones that's a spinoff of Dreamwalker, and it's supposed to have a Western element to it, which I'm curious about. I'm really curious. But this is the other news. This one, of course, by Mikey Sutton himself wrote this. Ezra Miller's Flash receives a promising update amidst controversial reboot. And we've heard nothing but positive things coming out about the film so far for people who've gotten to see the work print or whatever cut they've seen. As Ezra Miller's Flash future might not come to an end with DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn controversial reboot. At least not now. On January 13th, we reported that Ezra Miller's time on the DCU was uncertain. There are two ways to interpret that. On one hand, there's a strong chance that Warner Brothers Discovery could cut Ezra Miller loose. After all, their list of legal difficulties would give Matt Murdock a headache. Without a doubt, Warner Brothers Discovery would be justified in recasting The Flash. In fact, the general public might agree with that. In September of 2022, a Morning Consult survey found that nearly 50% wanted The Flash canceled, as in the movie itself. In other words, throw the baby out with the bathwater. Certainly that won't happen. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav won't absorb a $200 million kick in the groin. Indeed, turning the poorly received Batgirl into a tax martyr was painful enough, and they're not the same. Ezra Miller's Flash well, I'm not going to read that. Warner Brothers felt Batgirl was like a red-hot boil that must not be seen during a date. Herpes flare up in the middle of the day. That's bad. That's bad.
The thing about that Batgirl, the other thing that you also have to understand is that the people who greenlit that entire thing were doing it to achieve a particular purpose, and that they were willing to do anything to get
to reboot the DC universe.
That's right, including putting out stuff that might not be the best stuff at all.
An all-female.
Well,
DCU is really about
minus the fact that they were going to have Jason Momoa come back and Ezra Miller. It was going to be just Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller, and all the other men were going to be gone.
That's all the masculine toxicity they could handle.
Yeah, just Jason Momoa, technically.
Yeah.
Ezra Miller kind of cancels out Jason Momoa.
No, he doesn't.
I gotta agree.
Momoa has enough. Momoa has
not enough cock in him to destroy Momoa's masculinity.
I mean, why do you think he was excited? I mean, think about it. Gal Gadot and all these other females, and it's Jason Momoa. Come on. I mean, I'd be happy about that.
So let me get back to this. I'll start. So many feel that The Flash is a brand killer because of Ezra Miller's toxic PR. On the contrary, The Flash continues to acquire massive praise behind the scenes. Even Gunn claimed The Flash is probably one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. And therefore, what would you if the audience felt the same? What would you do if the audience felt it? Mikey, get a fucking proof editor. Seriously, buddy. And took the movie to a 1 billion globally. We posed that question before. We said, quote, insiders tell us that Warner Brothers Discovery hasn't made a final decision on Miller yet. After all, they bought a pricey Super Bowl ad for The Flash. Obviously, they have tremendous faith in it. And if it succeeds big time, what then? You drop the star of a rare blockbuster or DC property? DC Studios is thirsty for a hit right now. They're starving right now. They are so broke. The Flash could be that smash, end quote. That's good. Gunn may have initially wanted to do a full reboot, but that looks unlikely on Twitter, Gunn revealed. Quote, Flash resets many things, not all things. Some characters remain the same, some do not, end quote. Well, that's the wonderful thing about having the multiverse. So they can all interact with each other and they can just make an excuse for it. That it's just part of the multiverse, you know. Gunn removed Henry Cavill's Superman and Ben Affleck's Batman. That sounds like a former DC. Yeah, but they didn't, because we're still seeing Ben Affleck in the movie. Whoa. We've seen him in the trailer. But that was Hamada's original plan. In other words, this isn't a full makeover. Rather, it's a Hamada burger with pickles instead of onions. I love Mikey's sense of humor.
You know what? The other thing to add on to that, unlike Batgirl, is that Andy Muschietti is actually a talented filmmaker. Okay, there was no way this was ever really going to suck. And when you hear, and those of us that have actually remembered seeing some of the stuff shot from Batgirl, that just looked bad. I mean, it really did look like...
Yeah, the side shots of Michael Keaton's costume looked really weird.
Oh, everything looked bad.
It looked like he had big man boobs, like with pointy nipples. It was just really bizarre looking the way they designed it. I see Keto Simple is here. Hi, Dustin. How you doing, buddy? And, of course, Scribelight just jumped in. Good morning. Afternoon. It's morning somewhere. Screw it. So, basically... We've got, I'm just looking to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Yeah, good. Annie Morrow is here. Yep, good. Greetings over there in the UK. So, sources tell me that Ezra Miller stays as the Flash if the movie performs exceedingly well. Obviously, they have to remain out of trouble. Nevertheless, that's got to be in his contract somewhere. No more grooming. Nevertheless, Miller could keep running after the film leaves theaters. So, we'll see. We'll see. Any thoughts on this, Keith? This article in the news? John?
Monkey.
Yeah.
It's a good article, given who's in it. There's a lot of talented people who's in it. You know, there is no way The Flash was ever really going to be canceled. And so this movie was going to come out no matter what. And I will say this. I was surprised when I looked it up, but Billy Crudup is still listed in the cast for the movie, along with Tamara Morrison, Ray Fisher, and several others.
But we've already heard that The Flash's dad was recast. Is it? What do you think's going on?
I think
two different universes.
We're going to see two different universes. I think Ron Livingston's been hired for the future. Whoever's going to be cast finally as the Flash, Ron Livingston will at least be the dad. And I think
good actor though, by the way.
Oh, very good actor. You've got
He's a student of Dale Dye.
You've got a lot of people who are in this film and a lot of different characters. And I think that's one of the things that I would assume that people seem to be responding to, that this film does a really good job of not just including actors representing different universes, but taking it a step further than what Spider-Man was able to do to actually show us other characters from that universe and those changes and the impacts with all this universe colliding stuff. That's the difference.
Now, I also want to point out that I've been stoked from the very beginning about Michael Keaton. And I like the footage of Keaton. I'm not sure about the look that he gives the Flash when they go, you're, that's right. And he looks down a little bit. I'm Batman. I was like, I love the voice, but that kind of annoyed me, the glance downward, like, this is silly that I have to say this. I'm Batman. But I'm excited to see him, and I like that little action scene we get where he swoops down and grabs some dude and then brings him up and fucking drops him. I'm like, that's badass.
Well, again, as it's been pointed out, and as I've been saying for years, Michael Keaton has quite a body count. You know, his Batman killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay, and people keep forgetting that. His Batman killed a lot of people.
It's because he sucked at not killing them. Like, you know, Christian Bale was better at, you know, putting him to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm just sleeping.
Look,
no, they're
when he
dead.
when he took out the Joker's headquarters in the first Batman movie, I mean, you got to understand there was a lot of guys shooting weapons, and it wasn't like he was exactly shooting back. He just dropped a bomb and left. So all those guys who were on the ground, they're not sleeping; they are dead. So,
Yeah, if nobody's ever seen the Batman comedy vignettes, especially the specific one is with Patton Oswalt's Penguin,
yeah.
is one of the funniest damn things I've ever seen. Patton Oswalt has gotten on my shit list for some of the stupid shit he says publicly, but I still enjoyed the crap out of that.
They're not dead. They're pining for the fjords.
Yeah, your parents are dead. My parents aren't dead. It's like, they're fighting for the fjords. Oh my God. That was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen, that little vignette on Batman. Sorry, not Batman. Batman. So let's bring this one up. And I do want to say, a 71-year-old Batman and absolutely begs for Michael Keaton to lead the way with
Batman Beyond.
And that they're not moving that direction is fucking mind-blowing to me.
Well, again, I have to go with what WDW Pro and Valiant Renegade have been kind of hinting at, which is that I'm thinking more and more that everything's being set up to sell off Warner Brothers and to leave it in such a state as to whoever decides to buy it ultimately can then make the decision as to how or which direction that they go with all this. That what has been given up to this point with James Gunn and the films that he's talked about up to this point are more or less kind of like, well, this is what we're thinking about, but not something that they wouldn't be able to get out of in the future. Meaning that the only thing that's looking like they're really wanting to do is Superman, and everything else is negotiable. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's always the possibility. It really is. But Domain Stokely just said something too that can you highlight that one? That's why a lot of us are saying sell Zack Snyder Justice League to Netflix. And I agree. I think that would be interesting because I would like to see a conclusion to what
a lot of people would, even if you have to make it animated. But the thing about it is that you're getting into an area there that I don't look. It's going to depend on whoever ends up buying Warner Brothers, because as of right now, Zaslav's not having it. He has a particular view, and if he hasn't already gone for it, because seriously, it's Netflix giving you money, and if he's turning down money, that means he has a particular direction for this, at least as long as he owns it. So,
Monkey says that Zaslav said that he has no interest or plans for selling Warner.
Yeah, that's good.
They've got to make it a success. They really do. I think before trying to even sell it, they need to do that, because otherwise it's a fire sell, and you don't want to fire sell.
Yeah, well,
if they try to sell Warner right now, that's a fire sell. It's a huge discount because it's not. It's lost money because of Hamada.
They also can't get out of. Look, they've already gotten out of everything contractually that they can get out of. So the whole thing with J.J. Abrams, they can't get out of that. The whole thing with all these previously Hamada.
Well, they can if he doesn't give them something that they can use.
Yeah,
and that's their out. Is they can keep shining him on endlessly.
Yeah,
if he doesn't give them something they can use, he can throw as many tantrums as he wants. If he doesn't deliver something to them that they want to put money into,
well, before his contract runs out, because it was only a 5-year contract, and so we're getting real close to the end of that. So we won't be hearing more about anything JJ wants to do for very much longer. I think we got
because they are not. They can't be forced to back something that they don't like.
That's right.
If they feel that it's not going to be a winner, they don't have to back it.
That's right.
And that's the problem with a lot of people is they think, well, JJ has to. And it's like, no, they don't have to do anything.
Yep.
They have a contract that says you have the right to make some shows for us, but if you don't give us something that we think is going to be viable, we're not going to fund it.
That's true. And
as a studio, they have every right to do that.
And that's the same. That's the same thing with the Batman. that is still on the edge there. They could still change their mind and say we don't have to make a sequel.
And we've got news on something with Ben Affleck here we're going to look into. So, but let's go ahead and move on to this one. This story, Swamp Thing may have found its badass director in James Mangold. Look, don't get me wrong, I like Mangold, but I don't know was it disinformation or was he just full of shit with Indiana Jones? Because he was clearly misled or wrong, and lying.
Sucks.
What is it? It's either he was misled or he's lying. It's one or the other.
Yeah.
With Indiana Jones, and I think Valiant Renegade just had a thing on it too that things aren't looking good. I saw Doomcock did. Doomcock's always got something to say about Indiana Jones and Kathleen Kennedy, and it is always entertaining. It's always awesome. But this should be interesting. Kieran and Mikey Sutton wrote this together. The two guys who are normally on our show. Sadly, we couldn't have either of them this weekend. So Swamp Thing could have found its badass director in James Mangold. Now, I'm going to tell you the word badass, that's not from Kieran. That's from Mikey. I know how those two talk. So badass was something Mikey threw in. Like other DC characters, Swamp Thing has had some bad luck in recent years regarding his live-action appearances. While the DCEU was trying to figure out a path forward, DC was thriving on TV with several different series such as the Arrowverse. In addition to the CW's collection of shows, the now deactivated DC Universe streaming service, which I enjoyed, I paid for it, had its own original series starting with the mature live-action adaptation of the Teen Titans with its simply titled Titans. Not a fan. And a bunch of kids talking like big boys and big girls. Just stupid. Doom Patrol was good. Hot off the heels from Titans' first season came their second TV show, Doom Patrol. The team first appeared on the fourth episode of Titans, which hyped up their own spinoff. Of course, this led many to believe that the shows coexisted in the same continuity. On the contrary, the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event would confirm that Titans and Doom Patrol are in separate universes. Yeah. But before DC Universe was shut down, a third original series centered around Swamp Thing, which was released to universal acclaim. And it was really good, all the way up to episode 7. The show followed the origin of botanist Alec Holland and his gruesome transformation into the Protector of the Green, which in the show, the only thing I didn't like was that Swamp Thing and Alec were different people. That the Swamp Thing creature was not Alec anymore. I dislike that. Moreover, the show also came from the creative mind of horror veteran James Wan. Wan previously directed the smash hit DCU movie Aquaman and would also return for the upcoming sequel. Unfortunately, despite the show's glowing reception, the minute AT&T stepped in, he leaves that out, it was axed due to reported budgetary concerns. This let Swampy's live-action feature in limbo because it went from 13 episodes to 10. And that meant they had to scramble because they had shot all the way up to episode 7. Actually, technically, episode 6, and we're going into episode 7. And episode 7 is where you saw the changing in the writing, and it got bad. And the Blue Demon, terrible reveal. It was so weak after that. I did not like the final episodes. The final 3 episodes were crap. But through 6, fantastic writing. That was a good show. Despite the show's glowing reception, it was immediately axed due to reported budgetary concerns. This left Swampy's live-action feature in limbo. The cancellation shocked and upset fans. In terms of tone, this Swamp Thing captured the creepy spirit of the comic book, Drew. After British author Alan Moore's groundbreaking run, I'm not as big a fan of that. I preferred the original. Wouldn't expect anything less. Moore weaved tales of supernatural and real-life horrors, of sex and death. He didn't produce them for the PG crowd. That's right. These adult books paved the way. Mature books. Adult is bad. I would say adult. These adult books means porn. The way that for DC's post-punk Vertigo titles such as Sandman and Hellblazer. I liked Hellblazer, not a fan of Sandman. Many expected J.J. Abrams' Justice League Dark project to revive Swamp Thing. Since then, there's been no news. Until now. During the anticipated unveiling of DCU's first chapter, projected DC Studio CEO James Gunn announced the Swamp Thing theatrical film. Per The Hollywood Reporter, Mangold is now in talks to direct it. Should Mangold end up with the job, it would be a huge win for DC Studios. And I got to be honest with fans, too. I'm going to bet fans will like it. After all, he's no stranger to directing superhero movies. Mangold directed Wolverine. That's right. We can get past that. The latter of which has been hailed as a masterpiece, all of which are major factors in good old Swampy's origin. Swamp Thing made his cinematic debut in 1982 movie with the worst costume ever. And it was Dick Durock, who played him for years. He played him in the cinematic sequel and the offshoot TV series, which was fun, but I think it was mismanaged. It made it into a kid show, and they shouldn't have done that. Wes Craven tried to bring it to a modern audience, and I thought everything was good in that first film, but that costume looked so rubbery and looked so fake. But they fixed it by the sequel. The story's not as good in the sequel, but the costume was amazing. They put the vines and the plants growing off of him. It was really good. Really good. Swamp Thing made his, let's see, in the early 70s, co-creators Lynn Wein and Bernie Wrightson, who signed the first crossover with Batman and Swamp Thing for me, brought a gothic, serious sensibility to the character. On the contrary, Craven's Swamp Thing veered towards the campy. It's true, it did. Nevertheless, in the film was entertaining for what it was. In fact, many consider it a cult classic, and it is. It has a cult following. Mangold should take Swamp Thing into the proper direction, although Logan wasn't horror. Its grim outlook and edgy violence is what Swamp Thing needs for it to excel. In addition, a gloomy, terrifying Swamp Thing could erase the fears that Gunn seeks a goofball perspective for the DCU. Indeed, not everything. And it's nice to hear Mikey saying nice things about Gunn, because I know that there's a thing between them, because Gunn took a shot at him personally. And in the end, Mikey was right, but either way it goes. It's good to see. Your thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I think that Mangold doing a Swamp Thing would actually turn out to be a good thing for DC, and I think it'll be one of their stronger properties from this rebooted slate that they've announced.
Yeah, I think it's looking more and more like JJ may not even end up doing Justice League Dark, which will give them even more material to be able to pull from.
Yeah, once again, this goes back to what we were just talking about with him, that if he doesn't turn out something that they feel is commercially viable, they're going to reject it. And that's the problem with JJ.
I thought I saw something that said Justice League Dark was canceled.
Well, if it is, that's even better, because to an earlier point that somebody had posted, that whole deal with JJ and all that money is predicated on him being able to sell one of these ideas to Warner Brothers. If they don't go for it, he doesn't get the money. It's that simple. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I do want to say that, and don't worry about your typos, buddy. I knew what you were saying, that he retweeted Mangold. And absolutely, Lord Thoth, 100% with you on that. And you get it, Dustin. It's not adult content. It's mature content. Adult content is what you see on Skinamax. But the original Swamp Thing looked like, it design-wise it did, but it did not work, because you could see the rubber fold, and it just looked like a rubber suit, a really bad rubber suit. Das Wolfen throws this up. Let's see what this says. Screen Rant. Reportedly canceled. Once more, it's not confirmed. But I put faith behind it. I don't like Screen Rant, but I do think that they're right there. Because that's everything we're hearing from our connections between, Tom and Andre to Midnight's Edge and Sil Abdul.
The walls are closing in for JJ.
JJ's like a mime. He said closing in. That's all I think. It was a mime. Help me! I'm inside a box. Or that's in a nutshell. Me in a nutshell. Hey, I'm in a nutshell. Anyway, hold on. Put that back up. I'm the minority here. I didn't care for the Logan movie. The acting was great, but I hated that story for that movie. Well, I got to be honest. Look, it's loosely based on it was Hulk, the final battle between Hulk and Logan, and I think he eats him in that book, didn't he? Didn't Hulk eat him?
No, he ripped him in two. And
is that what it was? I just remember he did something really nasty to Logan, and it's loosely based on that. I thought it was a good film, but it really doesn't lead to anything. Everybody thought it was going to lead to the Canadian mutant storyline. I went, no, this is kind of the end, the end of an ending, but I'm excited to see that Hugh Jackman is back playing hopefully Wolverine. Because I said before, wouldn't it be funny if Hugh Jackman is actually not Wolverine in the movie, but himself? Deadpool's interacting with him. And that's how we get him in because he's actually in costume, like doing something. I mean, that would be freaking funny, to do that. But I'm hoping he's Wolverine. But at the same time, I would love it if he's just Hugh Jackman. Let's see.
Hey, we have a super chat from the Dark Knight.
I don't even understand that question. Like, when would I be mad at you? I don't understand you, dude. I really don't. And this is not the place to talk about it in the public chat. But anyway, gun not hunt. Google autocorrect sex. I agree with you. It really does. It frustrates me all the time. I always want to talk. No, I'm not going to make this joke. I'm not going to make the joke. It's too edgy. Everything DC had before is pretty much canceled. I hated that comic Old Man Logan. Yes, Hulk ate. Yeah, that's what I thought. He ate him.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I read that, man, but I just remember fucking ate him. Bones and all. This is impossible. Also, Hulk in the comic has a relationship with his own cousin. Ooh.
And they have kids.
Whoa! Holy!
Are they Hulk kids? Are they Hulk kids?
Yes, they're Hulk kids.
Oh.
Yeah. So just for you, just so you guys know, not everything modern is the only comics that were bad ideas. There's been bad ideas all along.
Ooh, that's not cool.
I'm not ignoring anybody, Monkey. I'm busy. I'm doing 2 shows today. Plus, I've got artwork right after this. I can't deal with everybody and every issue today. But anyway, I'm not ignoring Danny. I just don't have time right now. And no, I swear to Christ, Danny, you want me mad? Keep asking. Keep asking in the chat, and then you'll get me mad. I'm not mad, but you keep asking in the chat like this, it's going to make me mad. That's silly. It's absurd to do that. It's like, could you imagine if your girlfriend were upset with you and you go into a public forum to ask them if they're mad? Mad at me? I love you too, Danny. Stop that shit, knucklehead. No, it's just because I made fun of him on Twitter, him and some other dude. It's like, I don't like this article because it's by this website that I don't like. And I'm like, well, I don't like him either, but it's not an article. This is a quote. And she actually really does say what it says she says, but she's saying it between the words. And you got to be able to read what people say. That the girl that Leslie Grace, is that her name? The one that played Batgirl? Mm-hmm. Basically is calling out Warner Brothers as liars. She's saying that James Gunn, David Zaslav, and everybody at Warner are liars that the movie was good as far as she saw. And I'm like, yeah, she's calling him a liar. That's what she's doing.
She's got no reason to be that
I don't care if it's a giant freaking robot. It's not wrong. I mean, that's like, that goes along the lines of people who hate Fox News. It's conservative. I'm like, you get one this is back in the day. There's only one conservative news station. and you're pissed about that. Everybody else is liberal. You got a beef with that. I think that's just a dumb argument.
Well, she's an actress that wants to.
Of course, she's. What the fuck does she know about what's good and what's not?
Yeah.
She knows how to do. She knows how to read her lines, hopefully with some panache, you know. But it doesn't mean she knows quality. I used to believe that Harrison Ford did, but boy, he's put out some stinkers. And
she supposedly, Warner Brothers supposedly negotiated with both her and the directors. She probably didn't think that was good enough, considering, and given the momentum that she had going into Batgirl.
Exactly. You know who knows, has a better idea. I'm not going to say knows, but has a better idea of whether a film is good or not. The people are paying to release it.
Yeah.
If they look at it and they do a screening with people, they usually have a really good idea of what reactions are. I'm not saying they're always right.
Yeah.
Because, there was a lot of ifs, ands, or buts about The Godfather.
Well, and also understand, if she's calling them a liar, that means she also disagrees with Michael Keaton about what he had to say about the movie. So my thing is, I'll always go with Michael Keaton.
Amen. I do too, dude. I do too. By the way, Lord Thoth, that is the word of the day. For those of you who don't know what I just said, go look it up. Panache. Oh man. First time I ever heard that in a movie, I got so tickled. That one in the word gregarious. Panache and gregarious are two words that just you rarely ever see used in the common parlance of film, TV, anywhere. It's just not in the lexicon, but it's in mine. I've used it many times. It's one of the describers for me, is that I have panache and I'm quite gregarious. And I'm not the one who said that. That's something that other people have said about me. I'm like, oh, thank you. That's actually really nice. Thank you. Lord Thoth gives us a black heart because he's got a black heart.
Wow.
But let's get into this next one. Wait, we got a few minutes. Let's leave Swamp Thing, because are you guys excited about this at all with Swamp Thing?
Yeah, I think it'll turn out fine.
I think it will too. I think it's going to be interesting. I like Mangold. I have only one beef with Mangold, and that's his involvement with Indiana Jones. I think that franchise should have died. If Spielberg's not going to do it, it shouldn't be done.
Well, if anybody was going to do it, I like the fact that he's doing it. I just don't like the fact that he seems to be playing the game that they're playing over there with Lucas.
Oh, the language game. Yeah.
It's like, look, dude, you did what you had to do. Just let it go. Let people talk and let them see your work when it comes out. That's it.
Yeah. Really, that's what he should have done. But I think he was being pushed by Kennedy.
Yeah.
And, because that's what she does. She bullies her directors. And it's what led to the firing of Lord and Miller. Because she found out that the robot was supposed to be a parody of her. The way they were doing it as a parody of Kathleen Kennedy. And when I heard that, I was like, really? And it made me like what they did even more. I don't care. Ron Howard left enough in there from the original film to understand, wow, that really is kind of a parody of Kathleen Kennedy.
Yep.
The pushy, woke agenda, feminist, neo-feminist, not modern feminist, neo-feminist. And because there's a difference between modern feminism, which is feminism, and neo-feminism. And neo-feminism isn't about equality. It's about one-upsmanship and getting special rights and special gifts for being a woman. So, but anyway, here we got DC Studios delivers a sad update about Ben Affleck's role in the new Batman movie. This, of course, written by our dear friend, Kieran Bug. I'm so glad he's on the show now. I really am. I love that guy. Been trying to get him on here for a while. He bought a webcam and a microphone just to join us. And it took him almost a year to finally get on here. What I'm saying is Kieran Bug is slow. He's a bit sluggish. DC Studios offered a disappointing update about Ben Affleck's involvement in the upcoming Batman film, The Brave and the Bold. With DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn reboot, obviously nobody expected Ben Affleck to suit up again. DC Studios announced The Brave and the Bold during their slate reveal. Named after the long-running Batman team-up book, which I loved, fans hoped that Affleck would at least direct. Nope. At this point, keep your expectations low about DC Studios. After all, they're recasting Henry Cavill's Superman. That already sucked the air out of the room. And I'm in agreement with him. That even though I'm not a big fan of Snyder's DC storytelling, I liked his casting. Same thing with JJ. I didn't like JJ's Star Trek, but I liked his casting. Cutting it pretty close, Gunn finally fulfilled his promise and revealed the first chapter of his DC Studios slate. As expected, Gunn's upcoming Man of Steel reboot was finally announced with the official title Superman Legacy. Moreover, he further went on to reveal 9 other projects that are currently in active development, a majority of which will be centered around some of DC's more well-known characters. Well, that's the typical thing they do. I think Marvel is one of them that stepped in the other direction and did Iron Man. Mm-hmm. Right? You know, Iron Man was not an A character. And boom, look what they did.
That's what they had to use at that time. But
look, because Spider-Man was under Sony's control.
That's right, along with other characters. So they used what they had. But the difference is that was also back when you had fans who were allowed to write and be creative and help to put these stories together.
What? Are you telling me that they won't hire fans to write at Marvel?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, I know. I read it too.
Thank you, Nate Moore.
Nate Moore, rocking it like an idiot. Yeah. What a maroon. What a maroon.
You and the lady you're working with. You guys are
Victoria Alonso.
I try not to say her name, but
I'll say it.
You and that lady.
Stand her. I cannot stand her. So far, the various movie and TV shows announced.
You just assume they're gender?
I assume a lot of things, my friend.
You know what? I don't care. I really don't care about her and what she wants to go by. All I know is she's going
to have to go at some point. They're going to have to get rid of her if they want to make money. They're going to keep losing money the way they're going. And with things coming out about the new Ant-Man film, even the Hollywood critics hate it.
There's a certain billionaire that's laughing his ass off right now.
Yeah, buddy. He got everything he wanted, didn't he? Yeah.
Certain billionaire laughing his ass off going, you never should have pushed me out. You never should have gotten rid of me when it came to Marvel.
Yep. So, anyway, so far, the various movies and TV shows announced include Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Lanterns, plural, Paradise Lost, Booster Gold, which I'm stoked about that one, and of course Swamp Thing. Oh, and Waller. I'm not too stoked about that one because I don't think James Gunn understands that character at all. His version of Waller in Peacemaker is just terrible. And a kid? Come on, give it a break. In addition, an animated series and a live-action film which focuses on 2 obscure teams from DC's lore were revealed. There were Creature Commandos and The Authority. Both are relatively unknown to most fans and were an unexpected surprise. Nonetheless, Gunn has become famous for adapting the more absurd comic characters and turning them into household names. Out of all the upcoming DC studio projects that were revealed, the most exciting, unsurprisingly, involves the Dark Knight himself. Among all these revelations was a movie titled The Brave and the Bold, which I think is really cool, as long as it stays true. The reboot will introduce the world to DC Studios and definitive take on the Caped Crusader. As Gunn previously said, DC Studios will feature a new version of the character separate from Robert Pattinson's take. In fact, I'm kind of hoping we don't see any more of Pattinson. I got to be honest. That should be a one and done and move on.
Well, they're fulfilling whatever obligations they have to the director. But I'm telling you, at this point, Warner Brothers and Zaslav are putting definitive. They're getting a sequel, but it's not going to be. They're not going to spend the same amount of money they did on that first one. They're going to have to.
I'm sorry. I just want to say, hey, Socks. Let us know what you think. Let
Yeah.
us know. Message us, whatever you need to do. I am curious what you think of the film. It's going to determine whether I go to the theater to see it or if I just wait. So I'm sorry, Keith. Please continue.
No, I was just saying. Ultimately, well, no, I already said what I had to say about it. So.
Yeah, shut your hole, man. We're tired of it. So, anyway,
in the back of the bus.
Furthermore, the Brave and Bold will also introduce the first live-action interpretation of Batman's son, Damian Wayne, who I think is a real see you next Tuesday. The most recent character to take up the mantle of Robin in the comics. Not a fan. Damian's mother is revealed to be Talia al Ghul. But didn't she stab him? Dark Knight Rises? She stabbed Batman. And she's having sex with her love, Bane. Daughter of one of Batman's most dangerous foes, Ra's al Ghul, or as some people, Ra's al Ghul. Speaking about the Brave and the Bold, Gunn explained, quote, "This is the introduction of DCU's Batman. It's not Robert Pattinson. It's not Ben Affleck. We're working with Robert on Batman 2 and dealing with that with Matt Reeves. Working with doesn't mean it's happening. And we're working with Ben Affleck, who really has been part of our architectural team trying to bring things together. And he really wants to direct one of our projects, and we're excited to have him. And that's always good news because I like his films. But this is the story of Damian Wayne, who is Batman's actual son, who we didn't know existed for the first 8 or 10 years of his life."
Hey, we have to break.
End quote. Is it commercial time? It is.
Yeah.
Let's go. Take us away, Bill. Hi, guys. This is Gary from Pop Culture Minefield here on KGRA, and we're leaving for our first break. I hope we survive.
A birthday without her mom. An anniversary without her husband. Her wedding day without her dad. These are the days when military families feel it most of all. The loss of their soldier, their sailor, their airman, their Marine, their Coast Guardsman. Families never forget their loved ones lost to war or illness or suicide. Families never forget, and neither do we. We are TAPS, the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. We provide resources, support, and comfort to heal the hearts and meet the needs of grieving military families, all at no cost to them. Your generosity can make an enormous difference in the lives of the families of our fallen military heroes. Our military families need to know they are not alone and they are not forgotten. Show them your support at taps.org.
Important question facing humanity is
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Oh, wow. We survived. Welcome back from the commercial break. Now for some more Pop Culture Minefield on KGRA. Before we wrap this up, I want to go into some of the comments that are starred right now because we got like 9 comments. Let's see. Monkey Jeebus. Megan, unrated next week on Peacock. I'm actually going to watch that, see if it's any good. I like I got to be honest, I actually enjoyed the film. Yeah, it's a Chucky knockoff, but it was still enjoyable. Let's see. Next comment. Why did Batman and Robin get nipples, but nipples? Yeah, I know. It was absurd. Because I'm going to say it, and I do believe that this actually played into it because the director is gay. He could care less about Batgirl's nipples. Let's see. Batgirl nipples or nothing. Let's see. And then Anima said, because you guys in the U.S. are terrified. No, we are not, baby. No, we are not. You are more terrified of them than I am. So
Release the nipples.
Yeah, release the nippers. I'm in the U.S. and I feel that movies. Yeah, definitely. I agree with Dustin on that. Lord Thoth says, word of the day, panache. Thank you, sir. It is true. Look that word up. Include it in your lexicon. Include it in your lexicon. I saw Ant-Man last night and was not impressed. Have any of you seen it yet? That sucks because I'm a big fan of the kid playing him. I like him as an actor. But I don't know. Feige's been shit in the bed since Endgame. So, and I know a lot of it is due to Victoria Alonso, but still, come on. I don't get this. How can they use Damian Wayne but not use Dick, Jason, or Tim? I know you got Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Tim Drake, right? Tim Drake?
Yeah. We're not even sure if that's actually the case. A lot of people have been making assumptions because of the way everything was described. Nothing in any of the description about that particular film says that those characters do not exist. All it says is that it's Batman, Bruce Wayne, and his son, Damian, being the Robin that he has for that movie. That's all it says. There is no other indications they're going to do anything else.
Yeah. And then last comment that we have starred here. I just hope Ant-Man 3 is just as good as the first two Ant-Man movies were, and I really hope Ant-Man 3 is better than the Eternals. Well, you can't get worse than the Eternals.
There's a lot of
so it's got to be better. I don't believe you can.
There's no room under that bar for that.
Yeah, that bar is all the way at the bottom. And then Thor: Love and Thunder is just crap. I mean, it's not a bad film. It's just a crappy movie.
You want to know what's right underneath all that crap? Shang-Chi.
I think Shang-Chi, Thor: Love and Thunder are on top of it. It's the dirt that it was buried under, Eternals. That's how I look at that. I don't see why people are making a big deal about older Batman than Superman when Bruce was definitely older than Clark in the Snyderverse. Is that a thing? Are people having a problem with that? I haven't heard of that. If it's true, I think it's silly. It's another one of those absurd things. It's like there are things to get upset about. That's not really one of them. Release the nips. Now, coming from Lord Thoth and not Monkey Jeebus, I take that as nipples. But if Monkey had said that, it would be release the Kraken. It means release the Kraken.
Hi, Mags.
Mags here? Oh, hey. What's up, Mags?
Mags ought to come in and join us.
Okay.
Those comedy beats, it takes itself way too seriously, but Jonathan Majors was awesome in it, and he definitely is the new Thanos. Okay,
No
well, that's good.
spoilers.
That's good. I don't know if it's a spoiler. Is it a spoiler?
I can't tell.
I don't think that's a spoiler. I think everybody has gotten that from all the news and.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm glad Jonathan Majors is cast. I'm glad he's having a great time. The movie didn't seem to be that appealing to me, and seems to be another rendition of getting as far away from the comic book version of the character as possible. So,
Yeah, and I do want to say that Scott popped his head in during the commercial break, and he said that, I can't even remember. I asked him to comment because I forgot what thing he said. But he thought that it was a good idea that they do this because it'll open the world up, the DC universe up, by having Brave and the Bold. And I agree with that, but he said it also introduces this other group that I don't know the names of and I've forgotten. And thanks, Scott, for not posting that, so I'd have something to reference. Just I wish he would fucking post that. I hope you're hearing me, Scott. Post the name of that group, because there was a group that he said could come out of, opening up that DC universe through Brave and the Bold.
Well, Teen Titans, the Outsiders.
No, there was a group, an obscure group that he brought up, because he's a true diehard Batman fan.
Oh, of course. Well, who do you think helped to teach him?
Oh, was that you?
That was me.
That was you. Okay. Then you should know the fucking answer to what he said, that there's this special group that the Brave and the Bold would introduce. And I don't know what it is. I forget.
Oh, here we go.
Here he is. All right. What is the group? Instead of texting it, you fucking had to come in and say it to me while I'm half listening to what's going on in the show.
I was busy doing some audio stuff. Hello to everyone.
Busy.
Task Force.
Task Force,
because it'll bring in some other opportunities to do some other things in the Batman universe. You could possibly even touch on Task Force and some other stuff, and then ultimately at some point get to the Bat family at some point.
Interesting.
Well,
I'm not sure how I feel about the Bat family. Because I, in particular, I'm not a big fan of Batmite. I liked it when I was a kid, and then I grew up and went, "Oh, that's dumb." And the rainbow costume, the pink costumes for Batman.
It's very, very 1950s. You know what? Task Force is a good idea. It's one of many groups that could help do that. I agree. That's an outside the box idea. So good one, Scott.
Thank you. But being a big Batman fan, I know that they've always done Batman, which is great in different verses and different stuff, and it's really different takes on Batman. But now they bring in Damian. I think it's a great idea to bring in Damian, so we learn more about his son, learn about his mom, and learn about all of that. But you can do so much with this, bringing in Brave and the Bold. I think it's a great idea as a Batman fan.
Yeah, well, it allows them to also, in my opinion, to also cast older actors to play all the other Robins. So you can cast older for Nightwing, as well as really, well, Nightwing's the more important one in my opinion.
That's the more important one, absolutely, and I would agree with that. But
Red Hood,
you could do Jason, Red Hood. You could do so many older variations of Robin, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did we really need to go with Damon Wayans though?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. That really does separate this version of Batman from all the previous versions. That entire storyline makes it a very unique experience in having his son. And given the way that Damian was when he was introduced, the fact that, he's still, if you make it early in their relationship, that means he still has something to learn. Meaning that he treats Alfred so bad that he calls him servant, and very rarely calls him Alfred, if at all. He refers to all the other Robins, especially Dick Grayson, as usurper, because the way he looks at it is that everything that his father has is his. So
that's why we should just skip him. I mean, Damian's just the worst.
Skip him to go to what?
Just not do him. Just start with Dick Grayson and.
No, because they're looking at having an older Batman. That's going to happen. Okay, so if you're gonna have him older, you might as well just go ahead and have all the other Robins and do something that no other Batman film has ever done, which is introduce us to the whole of the Bat family. So that means Batwoman. That means all the versions of Batgirl, all the previous Robins, everything. So to me, I don't really get what it is that, to me, Damian's a great character because it ties Batman permanently into Ra's al Ghul and the League of Shadows.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you.
If I may,
What,
Keith,
wait, Scott, Yeah, go
If I
ahead,
may-
Scott.
Sorry to interrupt you. Also, John, if I may, it allows you to see another side of Batman. Batman has always done stuff to leave a legacy, to leave a mark. He always had someone by his side, a Robin of some sort. Now he actually has a son. And unlike his parents, not able to leave him anything except all this wealth, Batman actually is able to teach his son and to be able to actually focus on leaving more than just the money. He's leaving a legacy. There's something that ties him to something more, a sidekick.
Yeah, it's like having a son grow up in a cult, and he's having to deprogram his son because his son grew up amidst individuals for whom killing someone was no big deal.
And I do want to say this, though. This entire segment was brought to you by Batman's nipples.
Okay. So, no, disturbing. But also, you find out, they can explore more. Damian actually had a huge hatred towards Bruce Wayne. And Bruce Wayne, as Keith said, is deprogramming him because of the League of Shadows and all that he's gone through and what Ra's al Ghul was teaching him. He's actually allowing him to create and be a better person who could potentially take over, I dare to say it, he could potentially take over everything of Bruce Wayne's.
It's superhero My Three Sons.
It is the potentiality of it, and I agree. I would like to have seen, I would like to see a full-fledged storytelling of the different Robins, even if it's just in one film, to show Bruce Wayne's why his attitude changed as each one left it was Jason Todd that was killed, right, by the Joker?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so,
I killed him.
Oh, jeez.
But
solved.
It's definitely interesting, and I would like to see all all four kids told at one time or another. Because, to be honest with you, he shouldn't be Robin. He should be Batman Jr. Little Wing.
No, he hasn't earned that title yet, Gary. He hasn't earned that title. He has to become a sidekick. He has to become.
Well, Little Wing. That just said that Little Wing would be his like sidekick character. Calling him Robin, I think, is a mistake. I don't think he's a Robin, and he's an evil little shit, to be honest with you. But that's the bloodline. But moving on to the next subject, which is once again written by our good friend Kieran Bug. Superman and Lois avoids cancellation to continue beyond season 3, which is good news. I like this show, despite some of the mistakes they made this last season. I do enjoy what they do on the series. I don't know about you guys. I think all of us do. Superman and Lois escapes cancellation and will continue beyond its 3rd season. But he won't be the only live-action Superman. Superman will return in theaters in 2024 under James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC Studios. Sadly, DC Studios confirmed nearly 2 months ago that Henry Cavill won't be portraying the iconic superhero this time around. Nevertheless, it's exciting to know we still have a terrific Superman in the case of Gunn's version crashes and burns. At first, Gunn's Man of Steel left many wondering where this new series leaves Superman and Lois. Following the warm reception to this supporting role in CW Supergirl, Tyler Hoechlin, how do you pronounce that? I don't know. Would receive. Is it Hoechlin? Okay.
Yes.
Hoechlin would receive his own spinoff. However, Superman and Lois would be set within its own continuity with no ties to Melissa Benoist's Supergirl, which is good because I think it became a crap series. I mean, it wasn't that great a beginning. She did great, but then when it went to the CW, it just went to garbage. In addition, the story focuses on an older Superman who's settled down with longtime love interest Lois Lane, and the classic comic book couple are dealing with their biggest challenge yet, raising 2 teenage sons. The show has been praised by fans and critics for its writing, originality, cast, and respect for the source material. Moreover, it has become a standout amongst the Arrowverse counterparts. Unfortunately, though, was anxiety looming over fans of the show now that a new Superman film is coming. After the formation of DC Studios, multiple movies and TV programs are set for release were hit with sudden cancellations. The CW's DC properties got axed except for Superman and Lois. The Flash will conclude with its 9th season, which premieres next week. Furthermore, HBO Max ended other popular DC TV shows like Titans and Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol, I don't agree with. I think that it lived in its own universe and they should have left it alone. This has, of course, led to fears that Superman and Lois would be the next one under the chopping block. While this does sadly seem inevitable, it won't be happening for a little while yet, according to DC Studios co-CEOs. Via Variety, Gunn and Safran said that they expect the show to run for 1 or 2 more seasons, which is good. I think that's a good run. It's a show everybody likes, so it's going to keep going for a little bit. Hopefully, this will help put fans' minds at ease. Of course, this is upsetting to hear, as it's basically a confirmation that the show is ending. Well, all shows are going to end, except The Simpsons. It just keeps fucking going. At least we can still enjoy Superman and Lois for at least another season or 2 before it concludes. And I think that if it keeps getting the ratings, they won't cancel it. I think they'll let it go even further. I think this is we'll see where it goes. I think because right now it's the budget. We know that part of the reason they want to cancel it is the budget, because it was $3 million per episode. Was that what it was? Because that's pretty high. I mean,
not as high as Star Trek Discovery, but it is high.
It's high for Warner. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Because usually like sci-fi movies and such are usually like 2.5 million for a movie. Now we're talking in modern economics, in a down economy. That's a lot of freaking dough going into something. And where are you going to make the money back? Because you can't spend money like that without a plan. You have to have a plan to make that money back. And I don't see them making that much back on the episodes unless this show is a hit. Your thoughts?
You know what? Netflix has money. I say have the show go to Netflix and exist for as long as they want to make it.
Well, now that they're starting to stray away from so much woke crap over there, I'm feeling more comfortable with Netflix again.
Yeah.
And they started realizing, doing woke stuff costs us money. We don't get anything back. We get everybody's praise. But you know what? I can't pay bills with praise. Praise doesn't pay anything.
Can't eat it. Can't spend it.
Yeah, I'm trying to eat that praise.
Won't keep you warm at night.
It's just air. Oh, Arwen is here. Hi, Arwen. Zax is here again. Zax, did you see my message this time? I guess it didn't send the previous time. And this happened to me a couple times where I hit send, but there's an internet problem, and I don't get an alert that it didn't send. And that irks me with Twitter. Twitter is the only one that does it. I don't get that with Facebook. And who else is here? Who else jumped in? Let's see. We got Mags. Said hi to Mags. Arwen and Zach. Yeah, I got everybody. All right, good. All right.
Gary, if I may.
Yeah.
I have not seen the new Superman series. Will not see the new Superman series. That's the only thing from that Arrowverse that I have not seen or want to see. I would prefer it to be a Bat series.
Let me at least say on behalf of that show, while Taylor Hoechlin did get his start on Supergirl, this is a different version of that character and not the
He's
jobber.
more comic accurate.
Yeah, this is not the jobber version that was introduced on Supergirl. That's a slightly different version of the character. This version of the character, although played by the same actor, is meant to be different than the one that you
and
saw. And
that's how he took the role, because he was promised that.
Yeah. So the one that you saw on Supergirl was meant to defer to Supergirl, to make Supergirl to basically help put her over the top.
It was meant to push the show. That's what it was there for. Not because they gave a shit about him or was going to give him anything to do. He was there as a prop to basically help sell Supergirl. And that's not a reason to put Superman in anything.
Yeah. So this is a different version. It's well written. And those of us that are comic book fans that are parents really appreciate what they put in this show. It's got some really good stuff that I will definitely say, as someone that has raised two boys,
Yeah.
I appreciate. So,
All right, let's get into this last one from Geekosity, and then we're going to talk about a couple other things, which includes George Clooney and Bruce Willis. So Constantine 2 with Keanu Reeves given positive update after fake news spread, which we saw that happening. It's like, no, this has got to still be happening. Too much was happening with this one. And it was something that fans wanted, because even though we all don't see him as Constantine from the comics, he has his own version of Constantine that we actually enjoyed. And it was fun. It's a good film.
He enjoys it too.
Yeah, Keanu's a nerd. He's a freaking nerd.
He is one of us. He's just cool about it.
One of us. One of us. So the big news is Constantine 2 with Keanu Reeves hasn't been gunned down. Despite recent speculation, fake news spread like wildfire through social media and then through our competition that DC Studios canceled the project. However, Warner Brothers Discovery quickly shot it down like a spy balloon.
Dang.
Let me get this straight. You're going to use a $1.5 million rocket. It's actually like a $500,000 rocket to shoot down a balloon. And it wasn't even armed. It was just shot like a needle, a little pin, the balloon. Wow. And they shot two of them. So basically that's $1 million right there to shoot down the balloon. It's worth noting that Gunn stated there are more projects that will be announced for Chapter 1. In other words, there's time for Gunn to add Constantine 2 later. Constantine nearly broke the internet in September. For many DC followers, that time was nearly like a golden age. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav showed the exit doors for the old regime, such as DC Films president Walter Hamada, whom, Joyce Randolph loves. She threw out a pointy finger. Aren't you sorry now you didn't get all these things? You had to get him because you got him to walk out. He walked out. That man did not walk out of his own volition. She's so stupid. Grace Randolph is one of the most dumb freaking people that works the YouTube.
You know what?
She's really stupid. The only person I consider dumber than her is that other asshole. He fucked with Mikey too.
You know what?
You know what I'm talking about? The guy that likes to attack other YouTubers.
Oh, yeah.
You and I've dealt with him in the past.
Yeah.
Because we were asked to be friendly with him, and it's like, no, we're done. We're not going to deal with this guy. He's a big backstabber. But anyway, so President Walter Hamada, Henry Cavill was the return of Superman, and that's why he made the announcement, and that's the one thing I hold against the current regime, is that he was given the go-ahead and told to do a public announcement, and then they quickly pulled it away. And I think that's shitty. I think that is really fucking shitty. No contract. There was an agreement that was made. Vocal agreement, verbal, I want to say it. In addition, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom added Ben Affleck's Batman. Altogether, they teased the Snyderverse's return. Certainly, they produced the right conditions for Zack Snyder to complete his DC story. Once again, I don't care about Zack Snyder's future storytelling. What I cared about is I like those characters. We had investment in them. We had invested in them. And with Henry Cavill, this is a guy who we knew understood Clark and Superman better than the people who made the films.
Especially the executives.
Yeah. But instead, Zaslav hired Gunn and Aquaman producer Peter Safran as DC Studios 2 heads. Gunn rudely pulled the rug from Cavill, and he did. It was rude, and announced a reboot. He just wasn't hired, was his comment. That's a dick move. I don't care. It's a dick move. But as predicted, Gunn couldn't quite execute Order 66. After all, he'd have to recast his own Peacemaker cast, including his wife, Jennifer Holland. Therefore, it's doubtful he'll unite DC fandom with his reset universe. The decision to remove Cavill and subsequently Affleck increased the bitterness among DC followers, and that's granted, and that's known. Absolutely. Twitter, my news feed is full of that every day. Vitriol towards him for doing that and bring Zack Snyder's stuff back. It's there. Even though I'm not that big a fan of Zack Snyder's DC work, part of that to blame is Hamada and what's his name? The piece of shit with Green Lantern and all that stuff. The writer.
Jones.
Yeah, Jeff
Yeah.
Johns. Fuck that guy. Because they pushed that story on him, told him he had to shoot that movie, Man of Steel, exactly the way it was written by Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. That's Toby Emmerich along with Kevin Tsujihara and everybody that was at Warner
Yeah.
Brothers before.
But
Yeah.
I still don't think Zack Snyder understands Superman at all. He doesn't have the mindset for it. Superman is the kind of character he would not get. But anyway, that's not happening, Mike. He continues, after all, imagine the uproar if another actress became Amelia Harcourt. Gosh, there'd be DC boycotts, right? Forget Cavill's Superman. Harcourt's recasting could crash the servers, mass hysteria. Thus, to ensure that didn't happen, he kept his goofy part of the DCEU, now DCU, alive and tossed, man, his feelings really come out with that right there, Mikey. Alive and tossed the Snyderverse aside. As YouTube personality Sil Abdul would say, quote, "Is this what the streets want?" Question mark, end quote. In any case, Gunn spared the rod on Constantine 2 as well. To give the proper credit, sources told me Warner Brothers Pictures Group co-chairs Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi didn't want it thrown into the Phantom Zone. Indeed, because they're the ones who pushed it to begin with. Neither Gunn nor Safran debunked the bullshit, but Warner Brothers Discovery representatives, but a representative, even though this Reeves horror movie originates from DC Comics. That's a really strange structure of a sentence there. Insiders told me a while back that Constantine 2 will be an Elseworlds project. Therefore, it might not connect with DC Studios' upcoming Swamp Thing. Well, it's Elseworld. Yeah, it's Elseworld. So it doesn't have to connect. I originally scooped this on a members-only stream on December 22nd. It's now open to the public viewing here, and you can actually view it if you go to the website. I guess I can share the link, copy link address, and I'll share it in the public chat. Here you go. Boom. There you go. Both characters have deep ties to one another, and Justice League Dark, John Constantine actually debuted in Swamp Thing number 37 in 1985. I remember reading it. On the other hand, at least there's a Constantine 2. After all, Constantine only earned $230 million globally at the box office in 2005. Nonetheless, higher ticket prices today. Constantine did develop a larger cult audience via home video, and that's where they made their money. They really did. They made their money back, and twofold, with the video on demand and all that shit. Certainly, Reeves' John Wick franchise boosted his value, and Matt Ryan's much-missed version of Constantine on the CW kept The Exorcist alive, even though I didn't like what Berlanti did with him. It's just not right. Anyway, I don't think he took him seriously, and that's what bothered me. He didn't treat him with any reverence. Although Reeves' Constantine wasn't actually comic accurate, he's British in the comics, the sequel is among the truly excited DC projects going forward, and I agree. I'm pretty stoked for this shit.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan, I got to be honest, of Keanu Reeves and pretty much almost anything he does. Very rarely do I see something he's done that I didn't enjoy. That movie, Knock, or whatever it's called, did not enjoy that film. Where he's home alone, those two girls come there to sex him up and try to blackmail him or kill him. I can't even remember the plot now. It's just like really terrible. Let's see. Anything in the chat I should pay attention to? No, nothing.
Yeah.
No, nothing. Okay. So let's move on to some other news. We can talk a little openly about this. Bruce Willis news.
Yeah, that's hard.
And because we already knew that he had been diagnosed with dementia, or at least organic brain disease. And but the latest news is even more devastating for the family. And I'll go ahead and I'll pull this up here. Let's see, share screen, share. Yeah, bam, there it is. Bruce Willis' family shares an update on his health and new diagnosis. The family has announced that the actor has been diagnosed with a form of dementia called frontal temporal dementia, um, or FTD for short, not to be mistaken with the flower company.
Mm-hmm.
In a statement shared Thursday, the 67-year-old star's family stated that while the news is painful, it is a relief to finally have a clear diagnosis of the kind of dementia he's got. Today, there's no treatment for this disease, a reality that we hope can change in the years ahead as Bruce's condition advances. We hope that any media attention can be focused on shining a light on the disease that needs far more awareness and research. Willis's family included wife Emma Hemming Willis, ex-wife Demi Moore, and his daughters. First disclosed his diagnosis of aphasia back in 2022, which is what I said, because I called this like a while ago. When Keith and I were talking about this stuff on the show, that there was something up with him. And it's sort of like when I go all the way back to the 90s that I knew something was wrong with Michael J. Fox way before he made an announcement, because he had typical eye movement and body movement of somebody with either a form of epilepsy or I just forgot the name of the disease he has. Well, it's a series of symptoms. Parkinson's. Because in the field that I was working at the time, in the medical field, I dealt with a lot of Parkinson's. In fact, my primary patient was a Parkinson's patient, and I was given care over that patient because of my work with Parkinson's. And so I like spotted that with his eyes, and I'm like, oh, he's got the bug eye look, and that's really very common with it. And the movements, the gestures he would do, because he would always overdo facial and head movements. And it's the same thing with Bruce. He started doing things, and then I started hearing what was going on, and I'm like, you're talking about a guy that's got like a form of organic brain disease, because I watched that shit with my own father, and not to mention, once again, working in a medical field with it.
Yeah.
So this is just sad. This is sad because he's a star, and I'm glad to hear a lot of the rumors that were going around of him selling his likeness for, to be CG into stuff. It wasn't true. Yeah. It was just something he agreed to two particular things. One was I think a Japanese commercial. Mm-hmm. But anyway, according to the Mayo Clinic, frontal temporal dementia is an umbrella term. Once again, this is like Parkinson's. It's an umbrella term for a series of symptoms with brain disorders that primarily affect the frontal and temporal lobes of the human brain. These areas of the brain are generally associated with personality, behavior, and language. Willis' most recent acting credit is Detective Night Independence, which was released in January and is the third installment of the thriller series. He also has an action movie, Assassin, slated for release next month. Willis and Hemming Willis share two daughters, Mabel and Evelyn, with Moore. He is father of daughters Rumor, Scout, and Tallulah. Rumor Willis is currently expecting her first child with boyfriend. That has nothing to do with the story. Bruce has always found joy in life and has helped everyone he knows to do the same thing. It has meant the world to see the sense of care echoed back to him and all of us. Yeah, this is nice. I want to see more. That's it. So there you go. That's depressing, but they have an official diagnosis for him. Any thoughts on that?
Again, it is hard to hear that, given all of the entertainment and joy that he's brought to people's lives. For me, being a fan of his ever since I saw him on, I think the first time I actually saw him was on Miami Vice, and then Moonlighting pilot after that. So,
wait, he was on Miami Vice?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, he's one of many people that had, before they were quote unquote famous, was passed through an episode of Miami Vice.
I got to go back, find out that episode.
Real bad guy.
I don't remember that. Remember that.
Real bad guy. But
and I thought I watched every episode. So wow.
That was just before the pilot to Moonlighting was released, the movie. And that eventually became the series Moonlighting and everything else after that. So,
yeah, and It's really sucks that we have so many diseases that have been around for decades that still are in the experimental stage with a lot of medications, from Parkinson's, and it's depressing to see how Michael J. Fox looks when he's under the affect of this condition, Parkinson's. And Parkinson's, again, is a series of symptoms that are under an umbrella diagnosis. Mm-hmm. But it's just really depressing to see because, and I'm assuming they're going to probably keep him hidden, and out of public view.
Well, he's retired.
So I know he's retired, but I imagine he's going to avoid public view.
Yeah.
Even past that, because, he knows and the family doesn't want him to be seen that way and remembered that way.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that's why they're going to do it. They don't want him remembered that way. And I think it's why Michael really limits his appearances publicly. And of course, then you have like the spinal injury that Christopher Reeve went through. And it really, I got to be honest, man, it's so depressing that he died. I don't think that if he had gotten it, today, he'd be dead. I think that the treatments out there are much better for spinal conditions, and he'd still be alive. Because he got pneumonia. And it's a killer, man. Pneumonia is a killer, especially if you don't have the ability to clear your lungs, cough.
Yep.
And of course his spinal injury prevented him from being able to do that. But just the same, I know that a lot of push has been to do embryonics research, which I believe that embryonic research should only be done through certain means and not through farming. Farming babies through abortion is a crime, but other means is acceptable because I know that they believe the embryonic version, even though there's been arguments proven time and time again that the type of cell work that they're trying to do can also be done with adult versions of these cells. So either way it goes, stem cell research I think is essential, and it will be a treatment through manipulation of DNA. So we'll see. Hey, Donnie Peterson. Let's see. Tim Gunn uttered that original super mantra instead of a better tomorrow version. Thank goodness. Dragon Ruse is here. What's up? I want to make sure I say everybody's name. Stella Stevens passed away. Keith, man.
Wow.
Raquel Welch and Stella Stevens, man. What is going on? Serrated Grin is here. Donnie Pearson, and of course, Peter Vickman Fanside is here. Good to see all of y'all. And welcome to the last part of the show. We're in the last 20 minutes of the episode. You don't really... Wait, put that back up. You don't really hear what type of specifically... I'm not sure why Dragon Ruse, my aunt, has dementia, but they didn't say anything more specific. Well, it's hard to always know what version. And a lot of it is done through CAT scans and doing electric... What is that called? Where they do electrical reading of the brain. And ECG? No.
EKG.
EEG.
EEG.
Through the EEG, you can start seeing what part of the brain is being stimulated. And if you see a diminishment where what should be happening isn't happening, that's how they localize it. And they find out where the affected area is. So anyway, it's depressing when some people don't get that because not enough can be done. Maybe it's insurance. I don't know, to do the research, but it sucks. But either way it goes, dementia, it's what would have killed my dad. But his massive heart attack took him instead. And which I'm almost grateful for, because him losing his mind was something that terrified him. And he was fully aware of it, that his mind was gone. So, of course, the American way, part way, refer to freedom. So I have always thought, what is that referring to? Oh, from Superman? Is that from Superman?
I think so.
Is he talking about? Yeah, because, that was for the TV show. I'm not sure if that was in the comic books. I know that was on the TV show.
That was added during the 1950s.
For the TV show with
Yeah, for the 1950s to keep them out of the way of government and everything else.
Well,
Signed into
yeah, really,
communists.
because the HUAC situation, good grief. The House, what was it called?
Un-American activities.
House
Un-American
Committee on
Activities,
Un-American
HUAC. Yeah,
Activities.
and to be honest with you, I actually don't fault the HUAC. I fault one person for that going south by getting too big for his britches and doing shit that was unconstitutional. HUAC actually had every right to do what they were doing because Hollywood in particular was absolutely infiltrated and was populated by communists. And socialists are just soft communists. That's all they are. They're still communists. It's the front door mat to communism. And there was a problem in Hollywood, and they wanted to clean it up. Not just the government, the executives wanted that shit out of their fucking studios because it was causing problems. One of those problems that they had was with the unions in particular. I believe that unions have a purpose, but the problem with unions is they tend to be socialist, and that's my problem with them. But anyway, that whole American Way thing came about because of HUAC and the Communist Son of Hollywood. And what is that guy's name? I forget his name that headed up HUAC.
That was
what a piece of shit he was. Totally
McCarthy.
abused.
Joe McCarthy.
Joseph McCarthy.
Joseph McCarthy. What pisses me off is they try to make it an all blanket statement of, McCarthyism and McCarthy did this. It's like, no, HUAC was on the right track until McCarthy did what he did. They were absolutely on the right track and they were right to do it. And there was a real problem. And it changed the tactics of the communists in the United States they still work in Hollywood. Okay, they still did. But what they moved towards is a more passive approach to take over, which is to hit the education system and get to the kids. And that's been going on since the 60s. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was already kind of on campuses in the 50s too, but not like it was when the 60s hit. Educate kids to hate the country. And if you don't believe me, look now. The majority of the people out there spouting bullshit about the United States, kids, young people, don't know what they're talking about. Did somebody jump in here? I thought I heard a bloop.
Me. Yeah, me.
Oh, okay.
How you doing?
So far, so good.
Yeah, I've already gotten over 12,000 steps in today. I was out walking. That's why I wasn't.
Were you Christopher Walken?
Put up.
Wow.
I got a fever.
Guess what?
Fever.
I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
That's right.
No, my son got me hooked on this stupid ass game called Pikmin Bloom, and you have to walk.
Is it anything like Pokemon Go?
It's made by the same Niantic. Yeah.
Somebody told me, hey, you got to try that game. So I got it. And then they got mad and they said, you're supposed to walk around. I'm just driving around in my car, parking and using it.
Oh, wow. No,
Wow.
I'm actually thankful. I've gotten over 10,000 steps the last 3 days in a row. And it's not even 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I've already gotten over 12,000 today. So
that's fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
I can't
I've been gaining weight and I need to, I don't like it. I need to.
Well, my problem is I need to get back in the gym and work out. I can't walk like I used to. I can't go distances like I used to because of
I
my
kept
sciatica.
the mustache, monkey. I kept the mustache, asshole. You see that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let that thing grow glorious.
Is that gray or is it just thin right now?
No, it's gray. Thanks for pointing that out.
No, I have to ask because I color mine. I haven't done it recently. I've been letting my beard grow out.
It's that's why I shave. It's because all of this shit's white. If I let it grow out like I used to have it, I'd look like Santa Claus. But my buddy Paulie, or Paulie, he's got the twirls, and he and I were talking. He's
using the wax and doing all that.
Yeah, no. So I'm gonna try to compete with him. I love that dude. He's so cool, man. He's been so good to me. He's been so good to me.
Well, I knew that once you two talked, which is why I kept pushing for you two to talk, that you would get something beneficial from each other. because you've got similar issues, and he's somebody that if you were to look for a sponsor, he's the guy. He would be a good sponsor for you.
No, he's a great dude. No, we've talked about apparently he's got his alcoholism issues in the past too. So he's a fucking I can't say enough good things about him. And he had me on 2 of his shows. I love the dude. Like he's such a good person. He's
absolutely he is a positive force in the universe.
Yeah.
And I can't sing his praises higher. Yeah. But I do want to close out with this one thing before we end the show.
Don't we have like 10 more minutes? We got 10 more minutes, right?
Yeah, but this is going to take that.
Oh,
George Clooney will shock with Batman Return in the Flash. And I got to be honest, I was completely and utterly floored by this news.
No.
Because he was the last person I would assume ever come back. But this is by Mikey Sutton, editor-in-chief.
Okay. Well,
so George Clooney will shock the Flash's ticket buyers when he returns as Batman. No, George Clooney won't eat significant screen time. In fact, he won't throw on the Bat costume. Instead, he will cameo as Bruce Wayne, sort of like what they're doing with Ben Affleck. Rumors fly that the Flash cut Henry Cavill's Superman. Moreover, DC Studios sliced Ben Affleck's Batman from its ending. However, he remains in the first half, although it's in the trailer, isn't it? That's not Michael Keaton's Batman. That's Ben Affleck's in the trailer. It just got released.
They were both in the trailer, Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton.
Yeah, both were. But there are 2 shots of him, the bike and him sideways going right to left with the armor over his gray costume.
But there was also him as Bruce Wayne talking to Barry Allen at the beginning of the trailer, where he was telling him that he like Barry was like, I can fix everything. And then Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne was like, or you could destroy everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the Flash trailer easily won the Super Bowl with its Zack Snyder-influenced epic action. Furthermore, the scenes with Michael Keaton Affleck's Batman and Sasha Calle's Supergirl were, even though I don't think the CG is the best, I'm sure it'll look a lot better when it's done. Alas,
Did you see my? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just want to finish this article. Alas, beneath the surface are corporate decisions that calm expectations. No matter who is in charge, DC movies face the same issues. The infection spreads from one regime to the next. In this case, 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. Cavill announced he's back as the Man of Steel, but only to have DC, not even a month later, yank it away. Pull the rug out from under him, as he says. DC Studios seems to be in bizarro world, giving fans the opposite of what they want. George Clooney,
bro? Like, no, who the fuck wants George Clooney?
He was everybody's least favorite Batman.
Let me explain something.
No fucking nipples. If he's got nipples on his suit, I'm gonna. Sorry.
Look, first of all, as it said in the article, he's not going to be putting on the suit. He'll just be Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
But here's the thing: George Clooney was really the first person to stand up and said that he made a mistake making that movie, and he said it before the movie even came out. He was joking about it because
George Clooney's a boss. He can do that.
I think in the end, he realized what they were doing, and that's the reason why he kept making jokes about it. I hate to be the Batman that would ultimately, ruin all.
Kill the franchise. He said, he said kill the franchise.
And he continued to apologize it for years.
Because you remember when he wanted to come back and do his version of Batman, where he's not really a superhero, he's a mental patient in an asylum, but it's all in his head. And I'm like, you are just pissing people off.
Bye, Dragon Ruse. We only have a few minutes left, but it's okay. I get it. And Monkey Jeebus, we do see Batfleck. He's in the gray and blue, like Neil Adams costume. Yeah.
2 shots. And it's the gray suit. It's the more comic book accurate because it's blue, cowl and cape with the gray suit. He's got armor over top of it.
Yeah, it's the Neil Adams suit, if you think about it.
Kingsport Cal is here. What's up, Cal? Good to see you, man.
What up, Cal?
Basically, look, I think this is just...
I like Clooney. I'm not saying
I love Clooney too. Before he played Batman,
I got no problem with George Clooney, the actor. He was just the worst Batman.
His Batman wasn't.
But again,
that good.
I don't blame him for that. I blame.
I don't
the
either.
Director.
I don't either. Joel
I forget his name. We lost him. He died.
Joel Schumacher.
Joel Schumacher. Yeah,
guy's a great fucking filmmaker. made the two worst Batman.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
I enjoyed Clooney's Bruce Wayne a lot. And I think having
well, George
him as-
Clooney is Bruce Wayne, like in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he lives the life. That's something he shares with Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck, even what's his name, Kevin Smith, said that way back when he did Mallrats.
Yeah,
he's like, he is Bruce Wayne.
Well, he called him the Dork Knight. That's where I got my name from.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
I didn't
in
know
Mallrats.
that.
Yeah. Look at the.
Did he call him that? Oh wow.
Yeah.
All I remember is the finger thing with shit on it. With shit on it.
No, if you look at the opening intro credits, they do like mock-ups of like fake comic books, or no, I think it's at the end, not the intro. And Ben Affleck is on there, and they call it the Dork Knight, and that's where I got my name from back in like I was in high school. I was either a junior or a senior when that came out. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how you can prove that statement when it deals with Mikey, because Mikey is, never been proved wrong. Things have changed. That doesn't mean he was wrong. It just means that things changed, evolved, and then it's released at that same time that what he predicted was happening.
I was really hoping you were gonna like the whole George Clooney thing you just told us. I was really hoping you were gonna pull up giant freaking robot, but now that it's Geekosity and it's Mikey, it's gonna happen, and I just don't want it to.
I just got to tell you once again, this entire episode was brought to you by. Oh, lower the comment so everybody can enjoy this. Bat nipples, armored bat nipples. They look like Captain America's shields.
They do, right?
You know what?
Please, God, they better not be. No, oh God.
Yeah, there's not going to be a costume. He's not going to get dressed up. He'll just be Bruce Wayne, and hopefully he'll get a chance to like drive the car. Because if you can remember, the car that they introduced for this movie that Bruce Wayne's driving is amazing. So
it is pretty good, but to us, when it comes to old Batman, this is it.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
Dude, I've watched the Flash trailer, I'm not even exaggerating, at least 100 times, only because of Michael Keaton. And I love how he's just like, you're, yeah, I'm Batman.
I know, that actually
I love
me
that.
when he did the head move and the eye move. Yeah. I didn't like that. I'm like...
Oh, you didn't? No, I loved it. I love that.
No, I think it would just been better if he just looked up and went, yeah, I'm Batman. But he did the head movement and roll.
He was like, yeah.
You know what? I like the whole thing. I like the fact that we're going to get multiple Bruce Waynes in the film. I love it. I'm digging
it.
Dude,
if we don't get Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne and Batman Beyond with I don't know.
Absolutely 100% agree with you, because they have waited long enough to where he's old enough to play him.
Dude, it'd be perfect. And the only thing that sucks is the kid I wanted to be Terry McGinnis.
Yeah.
The kid I wanted to be him is playing the Blue Beetle. So now I don't know who I want to be Terry McGinnis, because I'm like, that dude would have been perfect.
Yeah, because with him playing Blue Beetle, that's it's like they have a rule in comic book movies that an actor cannot play multiple. Wait, no, they do that. They allow people to play multiple
you
roles.
said
That's right.
well, within the same.
No, you got Johnny Storm, played by Captain
America. Yeah.
And don't forget, Lobo's going to be played by Jason Momoa. Aquaman.
What would be funny is if he's got a split screen with him.
Hey,
wouldn't it be funny split screen with Aquaman and Lobo?
Yeah. So hey, you're clearly you guys are not paying attention to Bill in the private chat. Can I do a quick promo for my show real quick, because we only got a minute left.
Oh, yeah, I know that. No, that's for tomorrow. But go ahead. I already mentioned it earlier that you got your show, Shani. What is it about, real quick?
Okay, so we have a big pay-per-view happening Saturday called Elimination Chamber, WWE's Elimination Chamber. So Sunday, our Sunday show is going to be all about that. And as long as Gary's cool with it, we're going to do another live stream watch along. Where
it's fine. Talk to Bill because Bill might want to have that on the KGRA side.
Okay.
Too.
Well, yeah, we're going to react to it in real time. Yeah. We're going to react to it in real time, and so yeah, join us Sunday, 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Pacific for
Specific
Dork Side
time
of the Ring. Yeah, there's Joe. Yeah, Dork Side of the Ring.
Dork Side of the Ring at specific time. Let's get to the thank yous. I want to thank everybody on the panel. I want to thank Bill for producing the show. I want to always thank Chanel. She's so amazing as our producer on Wednesday. Bill's doing a killer job.
I met her a couple days ago. She was adorable.
She's so cool. Yeah. She is so cool. I want to thank Keith for finally showing up to the show today and not falling asleep during the show. Not during the whole show. He stayed away. Keith, I love you, buddy.
Love you, Keith.
John, I want to thank you for being.
We're going to have words.
I'm sorry, brother.
Josh Wolven, I want to thank you for also moving around a little bit, getting a little animated. Yeah. And Martin.
Is his screen frozen?
Do I need to thank Martin for what he does?
Oh, jeez.
Thank you, Martin, for being the right side of my brain as always. I want to thank Penny. That's Dork's mom. And Anima Confusa, love of my life. White Boy Crazy Horse. Lord Thoth, Monkey Jeebus, Sox Bulletins, Domain Stokely. Alex Moore. Keto Simple, my friend Dustin. Scribelight, Scott Lewis. Magitech Mags, Arwen Avalon. Two sexy ladies that are super smart.
We're at a hard out.
Even though Arwen is just way too big a dinosaur fan. That's all I got to say. Zax, a.k.a. Kyle. Serrated Grin. Donnie Pearson. Peter Vickman Fan Site. Kingsport Cal. Dragon Ruse. Andy Morrow. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Great show. A lot of fun. A lot of subjects. And all of our hearts go out to Bruce Willis and his family. That's all I got to say. Bill, kill the show.